Hello and good evening. We are live. It's the referee Vinny Lax Twitch stream. Thanks for joining us. I'm here with the New York Nick. We're talking Super Bowls or Superb Owls if you want. Whatever we feel like talking about. How do you feel about owls, Nick? You a fan of owls?
The white Icelandic snow owl.
Yeah, that's a big
Dumb and Dumber. The big fundraising owl in Dumb and Dumber. Those are the owls I like.
That's a big famous owl. Okay. Now, we're talking Super Bowl. First off, how did you enjoy the game this year? Did you go anywhere? You stay home? Did you have anybody over?
Stayed
Was
home.
it quiet?
I had some people over. Kind of low key.
Yeah.
I like to actually watch the game.
Yeah.
If I was by myself, I'd be totally fine because I just want to watch the game and analyze.
That's kind of is the downfall of the Super Bowl parties is you really don't. You're always socializing, so it's like you're watching plays here and there, and like when a big play happens, you pay attention, obviously, but it is kind of hard to pay attention to the whole thing, and you miss the commercials. That's what I noticed. Watching it by myself, I get to watch all the commercials, which are a big part of the Super Bowl. Although there weren't very many good commercials this year. I feel like the past couple years things have been on the downslide.
Yeah, the commercials have been awful. They've really been awful. I think it's just people are scared. I think people are scared to make a funny commercial. I think companies are just scared to kind of go outside the box. Even if it's not going to be offensive, they're scared that there's going to be 5 people that will just put up a stink on social media.
Well, I think that gets you like a little bit of, they say no publicity is bad publicity, right? So I think sometimes put something out there, and then it gets you can get your name out at least, and then people will be talking about you the next day. There's really not any ads that I really like super remember. There's the Rocket Mortgage ads with the Barbie. I think that one was stands out. My favorite ad was actually during the pregame. I think it was for like spicy Pringles or something like that. And there's this kid, and he's eating a Pringle, and they're sitting with an older gentleman, who I'm assuming is the kid's girlfriend's father, because the kid just looks at him and goes, "Your daughter's a really good kisser," and eats the chip and stares him down. And the commercial just cuts from there. Yeah, that was during the pregame. That was my favorite commercial, and it didn't air for the rest of the game that I saw. So that was my favorite commercial that I saw last night. But
yeah, I think my favorite commercials when I was paying attention was. There was another Pringles one. I thought that was pretty good, where the kid puts his hand in, gets stuck in the can.
Yeah, that was
the other. He doesn't get it off, and he just never takes it off. And then he's like, he's holding his grandkids, and he's like in his coffin with the Pringles can on.
Yeah, and then
I just thought that was kind of.
And then one of the kids at the funeral puts his hand in the Pringles.
Yeah, and then the I like the Sopranos one.
Was that for the electric BMW? Was it?
Yeah, just because it's Sopranos, and I'm binge watching right now.
Oh, are you?
Season 4.
See, I've actually never seen the Sopranos.
Oh my god!
Because it's one of those things now. It's like, it got too daunting to like catch up to it, because I was in college when it aired. I didn't have HBO, so I just kind of missed out on this whole Sopranos thing. But
do yourself a favor. Get HBO Max.
I have it. I have HBO Max now, but now it's the same thing. Like it's the same thing with Game of Thrones. Like I never had HBO when Game of Thrones first came out, so to like catch up to Game of Thrones felt like very like a daunting task, and I didn't want to like go into it like this is going to be like too much work, right? I want people enjoy it.
Episodes, right? Yeah, they're hour episodes. So you're like, it's hard to binge watch when it's like 11 o'clock at night and you start to watch it, because then you're like 2 episodes in and you're like, it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
And then you're like, what do I do, right? And that's the thing too. It's like you want to keep watching things.
Yeah.
But all right, so now the commercials, the important stuff's out of the way.
Yeah,
let's talk.
No good commercials.
It hasn't been. I was watching Super Bowl commercials on my Twitch stream on Friday, because that's what I do on Fridays, is I watch old advertisements. It's kind of like my gimmick. And so I was watching old Super Bowl commercials, and the one commercial that stood out to me from like I think it was like last year or 2 years ago was the Shaggy one with Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis.
Yeah,
and Shaggy. That was a good one.
Yeah. Because like the halftime show, it sent you back in the day, right? It sent you back. To,
the halftime. I thought the halftime show was good. What did you think about the halftime show? Yeah, let's talk about that real quick.
All right, so I don't know. I was disappointed only because I was maybe expecting more. I think they should have just cut it down to 3 people. They should have just had 3 of them. Like I think having Kendrick Lamar was I didn't understand.
Yeah, because you have all these '90s icons, and then Kendrick Lamar. I guess hook the kids a little. I don't know. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I would have kept it simple and did more hits from Snoop and Dre and Eminem. I thought that would have been better. Yeah. I was disappointed. I thought there was some lip syncing in there.
It was definitely. I thought there was some. I thought everyone lip synced. But you know what? For a Super Bowl halftime show, I'm really not mad about lip syncing. I think that's actually kind of the perfect time to do it because you don't want to screw anything up, and it's a tough venue to do and nail, and like I'm sure you don't get much rehearsal time. It's not like you're going out there like rehearsing like you're due on tour. You know what I mean? Because on tour you're doing it all over. Right? Like, you're just doing it and you're getting in there. I think the Super Bowl is a great time to lip sync. I'm not going to hold anybody against lip syncing for that. So
I don't know. I was disappointed because maybe I expected more. I thought it was. I mean, I understand it's supposed to be theatrical, right? It's a Super Bowl,
but there wasn't that big pageantry to it either. Like you're right. Like I think we could have been even a little bit bigger.
Too many cooks in the kitchen, I would say.
Could be.
You know, and I didn't post anything about it on social media because as I was going through, I was seeing some people posting, you know, like if you didn't, I saw a lot of just crazy posts. Like if you didn't like the Super Bowl halftime show, it's like you were racist. Like you were like a white nationalist. I saw like some of those posts in my feed, and I'm like,
the problem is there are a lot of people out there that just are like old men yelling at clouds, being like, "Oh, there's people of color on my TV and there's rap on my TV. I don't like it." And then you can get kind of mixed in. It's kind of.
Why can't I not? But why can't I?
But you can have an opinion. You can have an opinion on it, though.
Music, I don't like the music.
That's fine, and you can say that.
I don't listen to Rascal Flatts because I hate Rascal Flatts.
They have a couple good songs, and I don't even like country music.
The guy's terrible. He sounds like he sings like he's like, I don't know, his nuts are in a vice, and he's got.
I like their remake of "Love Is a Highway." Actually, I thought they do a pretty good rendition of that.
Yeah, I'll listen to the original.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so now we got that.
We got all the sports stuff out of the way.
The game itself.
I'm going to take over the show, V, and I'm going to ask you what you thought. What did you think of the Super
Bowl? You know what? It was a good game. It was a close contest. It was a lot closer than I think people gave it credit for. I got the spread right, not to toot my own horn there. I had a 27-24 final score when the final score was 23-20. So the 3-point spread was there. I would have got the spread if I actually put money on things, but I didn't. Then again, if there was one play helped the Bengals, and they should have never had that play. And I think we all know what we're talking about when the first play of the second half, where there was an obvious offensive pass interference call that got missed. And that was completely really changed. And that completely changed. And that completely changed the game. And it was a bad miss. I will say that. But I mean, it was a clean game up until like the last couple minutes. Yeah. And I think a lot of, talking about the referees, I always don't like to obviously blame referees for anything. But I do feel like that crew was letting them play a lot, especially compared to a lot of the other playoff games I watched. Yeah. Especially because I watched those 49er playoff games where there was a flag every play. Yeah. But I think that's just kind of the 49ers defensive, the way they play defense. But everyone says, there's a pass interference, there's holding on every NFL play. Just a matter of fact how egregious it is and if the referees are able to catch you. Because towards the end of that game there, that's the flag started coming out. And that one, especially the one that got the offensive pass interference that got the ball to the 1 yard line, yeah, he grabbed him, but I feel like they've been grabbing all game, and you get kind of used to it. And then they call that play because now it's a big, all eyes are on that play, and they don't want to get that wrong. You throw that flag, Rams are able to score from the 1 yard line. Kind of got ahead of ourselves in the story, but yeah, I thought that was interesting. But I thought it was a good game. At times, it was even. The Super Bowl's so weird because it starts off right, and there's all this energy and all this pageantry, and you wait for it, and the teams come out, and I feel like they're really high energy, and then about halfway through the first period, it turns into a normal football game. You
just realize that this is just a football game,
right? And just
like all the pomp and circumstance around it can hype it up as much as it possibly can, but at the end of the day, it's still two teams that have to establish an offense. Where there's things that go on throughout the course of a game where now you're in it, and like you said, now it's just a game.
So then it goes into the game, and then you get to the fourth quarter, and if it's a close game like that, now it's like this is for everything, and both teams are like, again, high energy, like need to do this to win the game, and it becomes kind of a different thing. Like playoff football is obviously kind of like that, but Super Bowl obviously it's your last chance, right? It's your last chance to do anything. So congratulations to the Rams. They played a hell of a game. I think they deserved the win. They were obviously the better team. A lot of people had them winning the game. So yeah,
I thought it was gonna go a lot differently. I mean, I thought the Rams would have covered.
Yeah, because last time we talked, you had them winning by at least 10.
I had 27-16, right? I had at least 11 points. I think I'll talk about the calls in a second, but the Rams came out. It was very obvious that Odell Beckham Jr. was a big part. He was a big part of their game plan, right? It was going to be, you're not going to be able to cover everybody, especially when you have Eli Apple playing defense for Cincinnati, who's just awful. And
as a Giants fan, you followed Eli Apple's career quite a bit.
Apple's career and what he did in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl is exactly what he did when he was here in New York. But Odell Beckham Jr. really got the Rams going, right? He caught a big pass for a big gain, and then he caught the touchdown pass. And then he basically, I think he tore his ACL again.
From my professional standpoint as an athletic trainer and just watching the play, I would say he retore that ACL. Yeah.
Yeah, like the non-contact. You saw what happened. He grabbed it. You can walk off the field tearing an ACL, but you can tell by the way somebody walks off.
He didn't come back. It's either.
And you can see it in the player's face. Like you can see it in their eyes. What happened?
Especially when it's a re-injury like that, because they know what that felt like.
Yeah, because you've already went through it. As soon as Beckham was out of the game, the Rams just completely started to sputter, right? Then they could key in on Kupp, right? The Bengals can then really just key on Kupp. They're playing with a second and third string tight end. They lost the weapon.
Yeah, Higbee was out too. Yeah,
Higbee was out, and I mean really. And Cincinnati stifled the run game for the Rams.
Oh, they had no run game whatsoever. I think they had 40-some total.
40. I wrote it down. 43 total rushing yards.
And most of that
Cincinnati did
Cooper Kupp's run for the first down on that 4th and 1. It was like 8. And then Stafford,
8 or 9 yards.
And then Stafford had a few. He had, I think at one point Stafford had the longest run. It was like 7 yards.
Yeah, right. And I was yelling at that point in the game when he made that run. I remember yelling, throw the ball. Like, stop running. Just, you got to spread it out a little bit because they just kept doing run plays. I'm like, throw the ball. And then he drops back and then he ends up running for, I don't know how many yards. That Cooper Kupp play on 4th down was a real ballsy call because you're running now horizontal with the first down line. You need like a yard to go. And you basically run a play where you have to run like 8 yards to get that 1 yard. Right. And if it like I think Collinsworth, the few times I actually heard the announcers, like that's a play where like it's either it works out you're a genius or you're a moron.
Yeah, that's one of those chess match moves where it's
they got to pull that off.
Yeah, it's one of those chess match moves where like you got to like almost hope they're not doing what you hope they're doing. Right? Cuz
you're hoping that you guess right.
You're hoping they're collapsing down the middle and they're not playing contain and they did. They collapsed down the middle and he was able to get around and pick up the first down, which that's obviously a game-changing play. But that's another thing too. Get the ball into your playmakers, and that's what the Rams did at the end of the game.
That's like you said, exactly what they need to do. Get the ball to the playmakers. And that play, it's like that's the difference between good teams and bad teams. Like good teams have the personnel to pull that play off in the right situation, and the Giants run that play, and it's a 5-yard loss on 4th down.
Because someone misses a block.
Because someone misses an assignment, a block. They don't have the guys who can make that play happen. They don't have a receiver who can make those moves and make a guy miss and just hit that. I mean, it was a great play. It was a ballsy play. But at the end of the day, the Rams' run game. I mean, Cincinnati did everything right. Unfortunately, they got the benefit of OBJ going out. I think if Beckham is in that game, I think we're talking about a different score, a final score.
Yeah, they're obviously going to be able to move the ball a little bit better with him in the lineup, but that's because they were moving the ball great in the first half. I had a note about Cooper Kupp too because I was like, I felt like towards the end, Stafford knew that's my guy. I got to get him the ball, and I thought he was forcing it a little bit, and I was like, this is either going to turn out he's going to make a mistake and throw a pick, or Cooper Kupp's going to score a touchdown. That's going to be That's going to be the two options we have here.
And if it's Kupp on Eli Apple, it's goal. At the end, in that fourth quarter, I don't even remember. Stafford missed. I don't know if it was Kupp or he missed somebody in the back of the end zone for a touchdown, but like way over his head, like a really bad pass. And I'm like, oh my God, you're never going to get that. I don't know if you're going to get that opportunity again to have a guy that wide open. And then Kupp ends up being, they end up scoring a touchdown. But I was talking to somebody today, and I was getting a Valentine's Day card, and he said, somebody was saying he was talking to somebody. He goes, how come Cooper Kupp always gets open? How does he get so open, or how does he always get open and make catches? And my friend said that he runs good routes,
great routes, and a lot of those times, like he wasn't open.
Yeah,
a lot of those times he still had two guys on him, and Stafford just made really good balls and put it in his hands.
Yep, and it's that sharp cut. It's running the route the exact way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Where when you look at teams that struggle, they have receivers that kind of bend routes, right? They're not sharp cuts. They don't run straight lines. They kind of run bowed lines. And that you can get away with that in college because corners don't close in that fast.
Right.
But if you do that in the NFL, you'll have a linebacker that'll close in on that. Right? And you need to make those sharp cuts because that gives you that split second of just a little bit of separation, and a quarterback like Stafford can put it in there.
Well, being the 49ers fan that I am, Jerry Rice was never the fastest guy in the field. Never even had the best hands on the field. The guy just ran routes the way you're supposed to run routes.
And he had Montana, new and young, and they knew exactly where you were.
Yeah.
He let his look. He put himself in a position where he's like, look, where I'm going to be every single play. I'm going to be at that spot every single time. My route's never going to change. I'm going to run the route and just put the ball in that spot. I'll be there.
I think Kupp does a very good job.
Same thing with John Taylor.
But Kupp does a very good job of running those option routes too, where he's either going to go this way or that way, and Stafford knows, figures out where he's going to go and puts the ball on him. But yeah, you got one playmaker left. You got to give him the ball, and they did. But yeah, run, the Cincinnati defense impressed me because that was one of the weak links I think they had coming in. That and obviously their offensive line, which played great until LA figured them out. And
because once they figured them out, they had 7. I think it was 7 sacks or something like that.
Yeah, it started with what? Right. They had 1, I think, in the first half, and then 6 in the second, something like that. Once middle of the third quarter happened, they just put pressure on Burrow, and Joe Cool kind of chilled out a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean that was what we talked about last week, I think, right? When we were like, look, if you can get pressure, my whole thing for all week going into this was, if both teams play a clean game, the Rams are going to win, right?
They were the better team. That's obvious.
Yeah, I mean, if both teams play mistake-free football, the Rams are going to win, and the Rams made a few mistakes that really could have set themselves back, right? There was the tip pass for the interception.
Yeah.
I thought Ramsey got thrown down on that one play, which is one of the all-time worst missed calls I've ever seen. I mean, it was
basically an offensive face mask against the cornerback trying to cover you. And
that's how you know. And that's how I know who was rooting for the Bengals and who wasn't, because at the end of the game, everybody was crying about the penalties. Meanwhile, they were crickets.
Oh, at the end of the game,
yeah. Yeah. So I'm like, you can't be mad at all those penalties and say that lost the game for Cincinnati when a touchdown was scored on a guy who got thrown down by his face.
and that. I mean, obviously that was a huge game changer, right? It's the first play of the second half.
Yeah,
you're down 3, and you score a touchdown immediately and put the other team on their heels. And then I think after that was the interception, the tip pass for the interception.
The tip pass for the interception, which again was a ball that should have been caught. I mean, that's not on Stafford. I mean, that ball should be caught.
I hit him in the hands, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, it's a tip play for an interception. Now you're staring at it going, oh my God, here come the Bengals. This is going to happen all over again. But I know Ramsey got thrown down on that play, but he got beat a lot. He got beat a lot.
For supposedly the best cornerback in the league. Yeah,
he got beat.
He did
got beat a couple times.
And it wasn't just by Chase, because I'm blanking on his name right now, obviously, but the other wide receiver. Oh, come on! What's the other wide receiver's name for the Bengals? The guy he ended up having more catches and yards. He was their leading wide receiver last year for the past couple of years.
Yeah, these receivers. Ramsey's getting old. I mean, Ramsey's been in the league for a while now. Yeah, he got beat a couple times. The penalties. Look, the one penalty, the holding call. If you watch,
Higgins,
play,
T. Higgins. That's his name.
If you watch the play, he did get held coming out of the break. Right, so when he came out of the break, he came out, he made his cut, he did get held. The problem, though, is that when you watch that game up until that point, they let a lot of shit go.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
They let a lot of things go. And if you're gonna let a guy get thrown down by his face mask, I mean, maybe you let that little kind of small hold at the top of the break, at the top of the cut. Yeah. Maybe you let that go, because I'm sure if we actually watched
every play. But that's the thing with referees are human, right? And like I said, it's a big moment. Everyone's watching this play right now, and they're going to analyze this play specifically, whether or not it goes wrong. And if there is that little bit of holding, they're going to hear about it. Kind of like what was it? The 49er hold there at the end of the Ravens game that everyone cried about. Me included.
Everybody always cries over penalties, right? So you're always looking at
it was the non-call to Crabtree. Remember that to win the game in the back of the end zone?
Yes. And everybody loses their minds.
That goes the other way, and the 49ers have to win the Super Bowl instead of the Ravens that year.
Yeah. That was a good Super Bowl too.
That was. We've had a lot of good Super Bowls lately. It's not like when we were kids when I feel like everything was a blowout. But
this game was because you're talking about the 49ers Chargers. I remember that was a complete disaster. There's a lot of blowouts, but everybody complains about calls, and they do it in every sport, right? They do it in baseball, they do it in football, and they want to.
Well, basketball especially, because basketball is a tough sport to referee, especially at the pro level.
Yeah, and I mean, they might be the worst ones as far as. It's very hard to do, but I mean,
so subjective.
There's so much non-contact. Like, I don't understand how a guy. I see it a million times, even in college. A guy will go straight up, and it's a foul.
Yeah.
So they tell you to go straight up, but it's still a foul.
You do it.
I don't understand.
What they're looking for is those hands to come down just a little bit, and if those hands waver, they're banging it.
It's frustrating to watch.
Basketball's a frustrating sport to watch sometimes.
Because sometimes I want to be like, just let these guys at least play a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, you can't call, like, some of the fouls that they call are ridiculous. But everybody wants to pin a game on a ref. Everybody wants to go, right? It's like coaching travel sports, right? The parents are always like blaming everybody else because their kid booted a ground ball, right? They want to blame the refs. They want the umpires. They want to blame the other team. They want to blame this. They want to blame the band concert that they had so they were up late the night before, and that's why little Susie booted the ground ball, even though she did everything right. But it's like they can't handle that failure, so they just blame everybody else. It's like that's everybody else. Everybody wants to blame that one ref for that one call.
Yeah. And
it's rare. It's rare. It's very rare. And I do it sometimes too in the heat of the moment, but it's really very rare that one call dictates the outcome of an entire game.
That's what I was going to say too, obviously. Like, right, one play doesn't dictate the rest of the game. Like,
no, because you can go back and go, look at that play calling. Look at that. Look at the way they handle their timeouts. Look at the way they handle their challenges. What about that fumble? What about that interception? Right? What about that busted coverage in the second quarter, that led to, a 30-yard gain? I mean, it's like, I like getting on refs though too sometimes, so I'm kind of a hypocrite.
It's just fun. Well, he has a professional wrestling referee. I'm used to it, and that's not even an actual sport.
No, and you probably get stuff thrown at you.
No, knock on wood, no. But
there was an incident a couple weeks ago where like some wrestler like went over the top and like started like beat the crap out of a ref and like cut his head open and stuff. One of those independently.
Yes, that was a few months ago. Yes,
I saw the story and I immediately thought of you.
That guy's a jerk.
He like went over the top, and I mean the guy got like gashed his head open.
Oh yeah, no, he literally he committed assault. Like he literally cut him open with something. It was like one of those stupid deathmatch things that I don't do those, Nick. I don't referee those matches, but some people like them, which is fine. But yeah, so I don't think it wasn't one of those things where they talked about it beforehand. He was just like, I'm gonna take my liberties with this referee, and if it was me, no way. I would have just got up and I would have ran out of the ring. There's no way I would have stayed there and not even. I don't know. It was a messed up situation.
It's really bad.
A lot of people were very pissed off about that. I'm in a referee Facebook group, and we had a nice discussion about that. And people were just like, "What is wrong with that person?" And I don't think that the person who did it is working anywhere reputable anymore. I'm not even sure he's working anywhere reputable to begin with.
Yeah. What's the largest crowd you refereed in front of? What's the largest crowd you refereed in?
Like 5,000.
That's a big number.
It was pretty decent. We do shows at Six Flags every year for Northeast Wrestling.
Okay.
And those are probably our biggest crowds. That and Dutchess Stadium, we had a good number there one year. It was probably around like 4,500 there. Mm-hmm. Outdoors weird though because it's not as loud obviously as the indoor.
Yeah, it would seem different.
And sometimes too, when it gets so loud, you don't even recognize it. Yeah. Like there's like when there's like 200-300 people, sometimes you can hear people like talking, and it seems like it's louder than it like when you hear like at the Civic Center when I think we just had a show there, sold out, so it was probably like 3,000, 3,500, 4,000 somewhere around there, and like it's just so loud that like it just you don't even hear it. It's weird.
Yeah, it's I would figure outside it's almost like watching the Olympics now
with no fans.
Like with no fans, it's almost like I don't want to say it's pointless, but it's like if you watch the indoor like the speed skating.
Well, when COVID first
figure skating, it's like there's no fans. Like usually want to hear like.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because when COVID first hit, I mean, just the wrestling had to figure something out, right? Because they couldn't have fans in the arena anymore, so they had to figure something out. So they would have these like empty arena shows, and it was just weird because they're like the wrestlers would still like play to the crowd, and there's no crowd there.
Yeah, because you're not gonna change your whole.
Yeah, it's just the way you train like that. When you train to wrestle, you train to work the crowd, even though there's no crowd around you. And then WWE had all those screens up at one point.
Yeah.
They put those the battle zone or whatever they called it. And then AEW instead they countered it by putting some of the wrestlers out in the crowd just to have somebody to like react to things. So that was actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my notes. A couple of things that actually going back to the Super Bowl that I thought was gonna just, when you talk about the interception, it's almost like the Kansas City game, right? Where I was like, all right, Burrow threw the interception and I was like, okay, in the second half, and the Chiefs are gonna get back on the saddle and get the momentum back and put this game away. The Rams did a couple things there, and some things happened. I thought the interception was going to just set if the Bengals were going to win, I thought they were going to take advantage of that, and it would just set them onto a course to win the game by 3, 4, 7 points.
Yeah, if they score a touchdown off that instead of a field goal, that's obviously
right. It changes everything.
A huge swing.
And the Rams are lucky when they got a penalty for an ununiformed player came onto the field to celebrate.
Yeah, and that ended up not costing them that much, but
it was right. So and they got lucky because it was they had a 2 minute. They got the ball it was like 2 minutes.
Yeah,
in the half, and instead of starting at the 25, now they're at the 10. You don't know. They may be able to go down and score a field goal or something before the end of the half. Instead, they go 3 and out, and they give the ball back to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the guy doing running on? What is he doing? Like, what goes through your mind that you're gonna run on the field and celebrate with the team?
You're just emotional, right? There's emotions take over. Is it right? No, you have to control yourself, obviously, in that situation.
You have to.
Because you just cost your team.
I've never seen it.
a definitely preventable penalty that doesn't need to happen, and it does set you back 15 yards. It turns out, right? Yeah, because they would have had the ball in 25. It's a 15-yard penalty. They had to start from the 10.
Yeah.
I mean. At the same time, I love that energy. I can't imagine what it's like to be like not active for the Super Bowl, and you just want to feel like you're a part of it.
Because you were active in the Super Bowl. Right, when you played, you were actually suited up, so you don't know what it would be like to not be suited up and active.
Well, I can imagine being
like playing to the crowd that's not there in the wrestling ring.
But you know what I mean. I can imagine being a player and being like, I want to be in this like the biggest game of my career here. Like this is my teammates. I want to support my teammates, and I'm not. And we do something huge, and I wanna run out and celebrate with them. Yeah, it's dumb. I mean, you wouldn't think that you would have to tell your team not to do that beforehand either. Maybe the guy didn't even know it was a penalty. Maybe he thought, oh, whatever, I can run out, and then that's not a penalty. I didn't know. Maybe he didn't know. A lot of players don't know all the rules, but I guarantee you from now on, every coach going into a Super Bowl is going to be like, we do something big, you can't run out in the field.
Yeah, it's like anytime there's like a hard foul in the NBA, and you got the one guy that comes off the bench to join the scrum.
I got a good story. I got a good high school story about that actually. In the 2019 state playoffs, one of our kids gets suspended for a game because there was a foul or something, or like they were chirping off. This kid took 3 steps onto the court, didn't even like run into the scrum. Took 3 steps onto the court and like said something, and he got tacked and gone.
Really?
He said you stepped on the court. That's automatic ejection.
You know what's crazy? So if you come off, I understand if you come off the bench and you get in and you join the scrum.
Okay.
Yeah. If you in the like sometimes referees and officials and leagues and governing bodies have to understand that in the moment there's high emotions, right? And I mean, depending on what he said, I mean, you can't just.
No, I don't think he dropped cursors or anything,
and just yell something crazy, right?
No.
But if something happens and you get up, because I've seen it before, I've seen guys take 3 or 4 steps out, and then all of a sudden, like, it kicks in. Oh crap! I can't do this.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, right? So it's like they have that emotion, they go, and then they're like, I can't. I'm not supposed to do this, and then they go back, and then they'll get fined by the league or something crazy.
Yeah.
Afterwards, when the league reviews the tape, and anytime you review a tape and slow it down, you can find anything.
Oh yeah.
Want. Right. So it's almost like if I looked at that, it's almost like when I watched NBA or college, and a guy's fouled hard, or not even really hard, and they want to review it to see if it's a flagrant one, a common foul, a flagrant 1, or a flagrant 2. And every time they do that, I'm like,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how you call that live.
Yeah, well, unless you, for me, if it's not a flagrant with my 2 eyes when it happened,
it wasn't flagrant.
It's probably not a flagrant.
Yeah.
But if you go back and you look at it and you slow it down and you rewind it, it's like.
And you think enough about it. You think enough about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you can find it. Like your brain will, like you will subconsciously almost find the flagrant.
If you're looking for it.
Like if you're watching that tape and a guy takes 3 steps on the court and goes, "Oh crap, I shouldn't be coming out here," like just let it go, right? Like you don't need to find a guy or give him a technical. Just all right, he controlled himself. He didn't run out into the melee. There has to be some kind of like common sense of like the emotion. Now, running all the way off the. By the way, you ran all the way off the bench. You probably ran a good 45 yards.
Oh, that guy ran,
right?
Like yeah.
He had to run a long way to get to that.
I guarantee you talk to that guy and he's like, I didn't know that was a rule. I'm sorry, my bad. Like that's the only thing Because, I mean, unless you're just, like, so amped up that you can't control your emotions that much, even though you know you're going to cost your team, that's a little bit ridiculous. But I guarantee you that kid didn't know the rule. But
yeah, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Maybe somebody should have stopped him. Like when he was running.
Someone should, whoa, guys, get back.
Where are you going?
That's what I was going to say. You know, as from, you've done your fair bit of coaching, and I work in athletics, is that if there's anything ever happens on the court, you need somebody to block the bench off. Right, yeah. To tell us no one's leaving this bench, because it's been. I mean, kids watch the good old Major League Baseball and like bench clearing brawls. You can't do that. You can't do that at the high school and college level. I mean, that was always been the joke, right? That they all could just go out and like hug each other, but.
Well, I had a coach from across the field in a 12U game told me to go F myself. Yelled it across the field to me. And the coach I was with, he like grabbed me and threw me back in the dugout, like stay here. Like it was a weird situation. So I'll tell the story real quick. Our catcher, so a kid was stealing third.
Okay.
Our catcher comes up, throws the ball down. The third baseman missed the throw and hit the kid in the side. It's just kid stole third.
It's 12. It's 12 years. Right? It happens all the time. Yeah.
Kids are 12 years old. Now the kid was rolling around like he broke a bone.
He's also 12 years old. And he might
12 years old. So he's rolling around and hurt, whatever. Of course, like 2 pitches later, it's a pass ball. The same kid starts running home. The catcher gets the ball. He slams on the brakes. And as the kid turns around and runs back, the third baseman throws it to third, and he hits the kid in the center of the back. So the kid goes
This
down.
kid's very unlucky at this point.
And he's rolling around, and I'm like, oh my God. By the way, so then the parent comes out, and the parent starts yelling, and he yells, "What's that catcher's number?" So I yell across, I go, he can't say that, because what he wants to know is he wants to know the catcher's number, so when he comes up to the plate, he can throw at him and hit him with a pitch. And that's the only reason you would ask what's the catcher's number, right?
In 12U.
This happens in 12U.
And he has a book, but he has a book. He doesn't have a book. Did you put the positions in the book? Probably not, because I don't put the positions of the away team in the book, but that's it.
Yeah, so I'm like, he can't say that. He wants to hit, because I go, the only reason he wants to know what that catcher's number is because he wants to hit him. He wants his pitcher to hit him when he comes up. Because, of course, the coach, the son, was that the kid that got hit twice with the ball by the catcher was the coach's son.
Gotcha.
So after I said that, I go, he can't do that because he wants to hit the catcher. And he goes, why don't you go F yourself, or why don't you shut the F up? And I was like, really? It's 12U baseball? Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is out of control. And I'm like, by the way, bud, if you knew anything, the guy running is supposed to get in the way of the throw. This way he's not out. Right? Like,
he's doing a good job.
That's why you lead in foul territory on third base, and then when you go back to the base, you come back in fair territory because you cut down the catcher's throw down at third base. So you get in the way. People are we could do a whole episode on stories, travel stories.
I can imagine. I mean, I love baseball season's coming up, and let me just tell you how much I love high school baseball, because it's just so much fun for me. I just love sitting in the dugout, watching high school baseball games, like working umpires.
It's crazy. 10U girls softball. I had a coach threaten to murder me, and the mom tried to run on the field behind me and attack me. Because there was no fence. There was no fence on the field. And, all because I went to the umpire between innings quietly while we were walking off the field and just said, hey, watch the second baseman, because when our girl's stealing, she's waiting and then cutting her off to back up the play, but she's waiting till the girl gets there. Because I saw her, she would watch, and then right when the girl got there, then she would go to back up. And I said it very quietly, walking off the field on the other side. That team then claimed out of nowhere that I threatened, that I went to the girl and I threatened a 10-year-old girl. I go, why would I do that? Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. So this guy was waiting for me in the first base coaching box. He was screaming at me, and he goes, they're going to find your effing body in the woods if you ever threaten my daughter again. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about?
Where did you find these people?
This is out in Connecticut. I'm like, what are you talking
that makes
about?
Sense.
I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm like, if she misheard or she heard me say something or misunderstood, I'm like, I apologize, but and then as I'm talking to this guy, the mom just starts going crazy and starts running on the field. And she runs on the field, and she's gonna attack me from behind.
Sounds like we need security at these 10U softball games.
People started getting out their phones because they started recording.
Oh, Nick, you almost went viral.
I almost went viral.
That would have been great.
It was just like, I'm like, what world am I? And it happened. And by the way, it's never the kids are rarely the kids are the problem.
No, it's always the parent. It's always the parent.
Always the crazy parent that thinks their 10U kid is like playing for the College World Series title or something. Like, it's out of control. Anyway,
Super Bowl, good times.
Yeah, I thought the game was. I don't know. I thought it was like up until the very end. I thought Burrow, when he got sacked at the end of the game, I thought that pass was going to get completed. When he was getting thrown down.
God, that would have been so amazing.
Yeah, if that would have took the game to like a B+ for me.
And
I thought the game was kind of like, it was like
It was boring at points.
Yeah.
I mean, for two of the best teams with really good offensives, it was kind of boring. Like I said, Cincinnati's defense really impressed me. Like I thought they did a really good job. OBJ got hurt, and they didn't have the tight end. But even with that being said, even before OBJ got hurt, I thought they did a very good job of containing them. Yeah. They gave up how many points in the first half? They gave up the touch. They strode on the field early, right, and scored. So I think
the Bengals scored out of the gate.
That's true.
Right? Then
that was the second half.
They scored.
I'm starting to forget things.
Yeah, I don't remember, but the Bengals went up. The ending saved the game. I mean, the last 5 minutes of that game was right because at the end of the game the Rams got the ball back with like 6.5 minutes left.
Yeah, LA scored the first touchdown because they had the ball first.
Was it LA?
Yeah, because Cincinnati got the ball and start the second.
Yeah.
So.
I thought the game was saved in the last 6.5 to 7 minutes. That's where the game really became interesting and kind of got my attention a little bit more.
But also because other than that, it was
like watching a game in October.
Because everyone knows too, Cincinnati's offense was like a home run kind of offense, right? They were big plays, geared towards big plays. So LA's defense really kept them conservative, like with their defensive coverage. They didn't get it bent. I mean, obviously the first play of the second half with the pass interference, that was a big play. But I think like one other big play I can think of, like Jamar Chase had like a 35-yard catch or something like that.
Yeah.
They really like did a good job of containing that big playability and made the Bengals play conservative offense, which I think kind of contributes to us looking at the game and being like, yeah, it wasn't as exciting as I think we were ready for, or hoping for at least.
Well, when there was that one play where Burrow got sacked and he was just clutching his knee screaming. Did you see that play?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this just ruined the Super Bowl.
He got his, if he went out of the game,
he got hurt.
If he went out of the game, it would have been maybe when the backup quarterback comes in, scores a touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, I doubt it. That would have been a nice Cinderella story, but yeah. And once Burrow walked off the field, I knew he was going to finish the game.
Yeah. I don't know if he, whatever happened, he twisted it or whatever.
I don't think anything would have kept him off the field at that point.
I think a lot of that reaction.
He would have pulled an RBJ or RG3.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I think a lot of that. I think his reaction was just like, I think he was scared because I think he thought for a second
that he hurt himself bad.
That he
and
tore
he's
that knee again. Yeah. Right. Like.
Well, it was actually that was the opposite knee. Yeah.
The other knee. So maybe he was like, maybe he had that one split second of feeling where he was like, shit, like I just blew this knee out.
Yeah. And I can't finish the Super Bowl in this game.
Yeah. That would have been his. I mean, I obviously other than him getting hurt, I mean, you don't want to see a guy go out like that, but it would have been kind of like,
Well, Stafford got his ankle rolled up too, and they spatted it, which is when you put the tape on the outside of the cleat.
Yeah, that looked pretty bad too. Like when it first happened, I was like, "Oh no, he just broke his ankle." I was like, "What's going on?" And then I don't know. I didn't have any squares, but I know some people that were pissed off over that missed extra point.
I bet. You're so excited, right? It's like it's automatic. It's like, I got the 4. This is great.
Yeah.
What the hell? And then there's a bunch of people with 3s going, yes.
Yes, I thought these numbers sucked. And all of a sudden, I'm in the money.
Did you happen to see the pregame segment with Steve Karnacki from MSNBC?
With the squares.
With the squares. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I thought that was neat.
Yeah, so of course I'm always doing fundraisers, right? We always do a Super Bowl fundraiser, and we do a March Madness fundraiser, which is pretty cool with the brackets for Abby's softball team. And I always sell a ton of squares because most of my friends are degenerates. And just want to gamble.
Nick, you've done your fair share of gambling, my friend. I remember plenty. Yeah, not that long ago. I do remember lots of games of AC Doocy back in the day too.
Oh, we used to play a ton of cards at the house. I still do my fair share, but for some reason this year I didn't have any squares. Like I just sold a bunch of them, and I never got squares for myself, and then I never bought any squares. So it's kind of like I was like, but Amy had some squares, so she was kind of watching numbers, and everybody in the house had squares. And man, when that extra point, I was like, Jesus, people are losing it because people are just watching the game, so that just for the squares. Most of the people really don't care who wins, right? I mean, unless you're a Rams fan or a Bengals fan.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't really care who won. I wanted the bet because actually both ways, right? Bengals, it's a nice story, and then Rams, it's a nice story. So
yeah, you just want to be able to say, hey, I nailed the spread.
Didn't nail the spread, by the way. I didn't nail the over though. I said I had the over.
Yeah, I don't know. If I had money on the game, I would have taken the Rams to at least cover. I'm not sure I would have bet the over. I'm not sure I would have even taken that bet. I'm not a big over-under.
Fair enough.
Better. I'll take a spread, though. I would have taken the Rams. I would have lost. And as soon as Beckham went down, I knew my bet was over.
There's a good. They're not going to put on more touchdowns.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just now I can just focus on the baseball season is not going to start on time, and my Lakers are not that good. St. John's is mediocre to not that good. And so now I'm just hanging my hat on Olympic women's hockey.
There you go. They play Canada. They play Canada, I think, tomorrow, is it?
Yeah, Wednesday. They play Wednesday. Yeah, and I've watched a lot of this women's Olympic hockey. U.S. and Canada are the two fastest. I mean, they are, like, when you watch them play, they're lightning fast. Like, it's good hockey, right? And then the other night I was watching, like, Russia and Switzerland. And it was just the slowest game I've ever
just
seen.
Tell the difference between them.
In my entire life. And it's like, then you watch, like, the U.S. will play Switzerland or Russia or one of those teams, and it's like the puck just stays in the zone and they just pepper the goalie with shots. Because they're just so quick. They're so, like, if people aren't watching women's Olympic, like, I know people are like women's soccer, right? When the Olympics come around, everybody gets
that's what I was going to say. Like, the women's soccer team is basically the same way too, right? They dominate like most teams.
The U.S. women's hockey team and Canada, because I think they're the only two countries that really pour a lot of money into their women's.
I think Japan has a good soccer team. I don't know how their hockey team is, but whatever.
No, their hockey team's not that good.
And Russians don't let women play sports unless you're powerlifting.
No, yeah.
Or being a 15-year-old doping ice skater.
Yeah, well, that's the difference in the speed is insane. They are so fast. It's incredible. And I'm not saying they're so fast because they're women, because I'm not sexist. But compared to the other women,
why did you even think of that then, Nick? Because that's not my face is not going there.
Listen, look.
Nah, see, you're worried about this cancel culture way too much.
I know.
Just don't say anything too stupid, and you'll be fine.
Wow, it's tough. They're just so it's such a fast game. It's so good. It really is really good.
Yeah, I haven't been watching much Olympics. I do like the Winter Olympics. I just really haven't gotten into this go around for whatever reason.
Yeah, I'm not really into much of it. Like, I watched the mono bob, which is the new bobsled.
Yeah, with the one person bobsled.
One person bobsled, which I thought was kind of cool. And everything is just curling. Like, there's always curling on. I don't understand.
Curling blew up in it was like 2022, 18, like 2010, I think, the Winter Games.
How many curling matches are there? It's been on every night. Well, it's been on every night since the Olympics started.
There's men's curling, women's curling, and then there's mixed co-ed curling. So there's 3 different basically leagues going on. Oh man. And they do a round robin, so they're always curling. It's on
every night,
and it's popular. Yeah, it blew up in whatever year it was. I think it was like 2010, somewhere around there. Yeah. And ever since then, it has been like one of the sport that's always on, basically. Yeah. It's like curling.
What's your take on the Russians? Because I don't understand the whole. I don't understand.
I don't
understand the Olympic Committee.
It's money. It's money.
Like
it's money. It's all money. It's all it has to do with. This is just all money. To say it's for sport and stuff. No, it's for money. But and that's why the Russians are still in it. But I remember when it first happened, and they were like, "Oh, we'll let them compete under, the ROC, whatever it's called." Like, and I was, why?
Yeah, you're banned. You're banned, but you're not banned.
Like, do you understand how Russia works? Like, they're not going to care.
Yeah.
They're just going to still keep doing what they're doing.
So we're going to ban you, but we're not going to really ban.
But the athletes
ban you, but you can still compete. We're just going to change their name, and you can't fly your flag and use the national anthem. But your team can still compete.
Right, and the Russian government can't fund you, but they're an oligarchy.
But they are.
But they're an oligarchy, so they have people that will fund them. That they're basically state sponsored. They're just not technically Russian.
And Putin can go to the opening ceremonies and sit there and clap for them when they come out, and then.
Do they still let? I don't even think they let. Does Putin go?
Putin was there, yeah. He was.
Oh my God! Why would they let him
go?
Why would they let him? Oh, it's China. Yeah, okay.
It's China, right?
I forgot.
So it's like.
But why? If I was the IOC, number one, that's another reason I'm not a big fan of this Olympics. Is like I don't think we should be having it in China right now. They got a little like cultural genocide going on over there that I'm not like too fond of.
Yeah, absolutely.
With the Uyghur Muslims. So but the IOC, it's about money. Same reason why all their movies go to China and they get edited down to make the Chinese government happy because
like the episode of Family Guy.
They got a ton of money.
Yeah, have you seen the episode of Family Guy where they go and they get the Rocky bootleg version, the Russian version, and Rocky 4, and they redid it and the Russian wins?
Yeah.
Right, because it's a Russian video. That's exactly when you said that's what I thought of.
Yeah.
But it's like we're going to ban you, but you can still play, We're going to change your name, change your flag, no, whatever. And then now this woman gets caught failing a drug test, and the IOC is like, you can still compete.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot I haven't like kind of looked into. I've just seen the headlines. Like, it is being contested. She's, but yeah, I don't know the rules that they have and why they're letting her compete, even if like it is contested.
You banned the whole country for this stuff, for like this behavior.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when they do it,
yeah. But if they're gonna let, but if they're gonna let her in as an individual, they can't treat her like the country either. That's you get that. But yeah, no,
if you failed some sort of test,
if you failed the test, and until you can prove otherwise, this isn't innocent to proving guilty. It's the IOC, like it should kind of have some standing.
So what's the punishment? So you get caught with this huge nationwide doping scandal. You get banned, but you can still participate. And then while you're here, you can still use banned substances and still compete. Get caught and still compete.
Right.
And I guess the test that she failed was like before the Olympics started or something.
Right.
Right? Like it was something like it was like around Christmas, and who knows? The whole thing is just, and this is what happens when you have and especially when you have a lot of sport where there's judges involved from different countries, right? Like it's always a team ends up losing, and it's the Russian judge that gives always some crazy score.
Yeah, that's been the trope.
Right? Like how the hell does this happen? It's like boxing, and there's always like, oh, there's so much money bet on this, and this is why this guy, everybody knows this guy won, but somehow he lost in a decision. It's like I never it just
most of the stuff just always comes down to money, right?
Yeah, that's why I like the curling. Maybe I'll watch a little bit of the curling. Maybe that's why I watch the hockey, because it's not. You're not being judged by a bunch of people.
Yeah, and also
you got to win. Like you have to compete, and you have to.
It's also too like when you like, especially the sport like ice skating, which has never really appealed to me. It's because I don't know what I'm looking for.
I don't even that rhythmic
everything.
That rhythmic dancing. I was mesmerized by that.
It's fun to watch. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like I can't watch this being like, oh, that was good, that was bad. It's all good to me. It's like, oh yeah, as long as they don't fall on their ass, it's like, yeah, that's great. That was amazing. I can't.
Yeah, because I don't know what a toe loop is compared to an axle.
Right.
I just know they spun a lot in the air.
It looked cool. They did a really cool thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're gonna let people and just was it you or somebody? Was it you that commented about the U.S. athlete smoked a joint?
Yeah. Shikari. Oh, what's her name? Yeah, the runner. She was. Her mom died. She smoked a joint. She smoked some pot. They banged her for a drug test. And she couldn't compete in the last Olympics. She couldn't run.
Yeah, she couldn't run. Right?
Richardson. Shikari Richardson.
Shikari Richardson, and she was somebody who was like favored, like a medal favorite.
I believe she was like high ranked.
Right.
Yeah.
So now she doesn't get to compete because she smoked some pot, and
why is that a banned substance in the IOC right now? What was the point of that? Who's that?
I mean, I guess you could say, well, if it is a banned substance, you should have known. Yeah, like I guess you're gonna have the people that say, well, you should have known if that was a banned substance, you shouldn't have taken it.
Yeah, but who cares? It shouldn't have been banned.
But you can't compete. But she can have a performance enhancing drug that from somebody had told me it was because it helps oxygen flow through your system.
Okay.
And so
See,
obviously,
I didn't know what it was.
The more you can push oxygen through your blood, right? It's like Lance Armstrong.
Yes.
Like they did blood transfusions with higher oxygenated blood so they can go up the mountains faster because it makes everything work faster. So you can use that substance and that's fine, right? You smoke some pot, no good. You can't compete.
Like shouldn't be a banned substance to begin with, but that's another story.
Yeah, we've lost. We're off the rails. This whole thing is
Super Bowl's fun though.
Yeah,
Super Bowl's good. Nick,
right, where do we go from here, VJ? Where do we go from here? Who's in it next year? Are the Bengals back? Does Joe Burrow bring him back again in his career? Do you think?
Oh God, in his career, yes.
Because I hear a lot of people going, "This is not the last time you're going to see the Bengals in a Super Bowl."
No.
And I'm always like, "Listen, a lot can happen. Free agency."
He's young. Jamar Chase is young. If they build a better offensive line around him, tighten up their defense a little bit, especially their secondary. Which it is. I mean, covering wide receivers is not as easy as it used to be. I gotta throw that out.
No. I mean, they said the same thing though. Dan Marino probably. I mean, I didn't watch that Super Bowl, the first one he was in. Rookie year, he went to the Super Bowl and then never. I think it was
his rookie year. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I bet you they said, "Hey, this is not the last time we're going to see Dan Marino in the big game."
they had a similar team when you think about it, right?
Yeah, they weren't great defensively.
Wasn't great defensively. Had a rookie quarterback who was good. Had Clayton and Duper, who were two of the best wide receivers in the league, and had a strong running back, which is kind of looks like the Bengals right now.
And I mean, look, Dan Marino went on to have
one of
the greatest quarterbacks.
And let's be fair too. Like, I don't know how the owner of the Bengals and the owner of the Dolphins at the time compared. But
yeah,
the Bengals owner seems to want to improve this football team. Not going to be like his father apparently, who just went, okay, I have a football team. We're not going to do anything with these guys. I mean, when was the last time the Bengals were actually good?
Yeah, Boomer Esiason. Maybe Andy Dalton. We'll give one year to Andy Dalton.
But the
Achilles Smith. Did Achilles Smith ever have a good year? Achilles Smith. Wasn't he? He was. Yeah, he played. I don't even know how I remember that name.
Achilles Smith. Was he on the? Oh yeah,
He was a first round draft pick. He was a quarterback.
Yep.
And then I think he played.
For some reason, I thought he was on the Steelers, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Ben Roethlisberger never forever. But
no, that was I forgot his name.
Cordell Stewart.
Cordell Stewart. Yeah, Cordell Stewart.
But yeah, the problem with the Bengals now is like they weren't it wasn't like they were the best team in the AFC this year. They got a lot of KC's still going to be good. Buffalo's still going to be good.
It's a tough road.
It's tough. It's tough.
I mean, whoever is going to be facing the Giants anyway in the Super Bowl, worst to first.
When the Giants are in the Super Bowl, they win.
Just got to get there.
You can't take that away from them. They win.
Just got to win more than 4 games in the season.
They can go against a 16-0 unbeaten Patriots team and somehow win that game.
Yeah, the Giants are good for good. They're good at going 5-11, 6-10, 5-11, 4-12, 6-10, and then win 9 games and win a Super Bowl.
Right.
then go 6-10, 7-9, and then win 11 games, win a Super Bowl
with like a 5 seed.
Yeah. They'll come in. They'll have to go on the road. Have to go all the way on the road and win the whole thing, and then the next year they go from first to worst, and then they stay kind of down here a little bit, and then somehow they miraculously pull something together, win 9 games, and go to the playoffs. That's it.
You've been spoiled by being a Yankees fan. That's your biggest problem right there.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I've been a Lakers fan, so it's like
they're always good. Just, yeah. You have high expectations for your teams. You gotta join the orange and blue squad. we're the Mets and the Islanders. We're just.
Oh look, I'm a Devils fan.
We're just usually awful, and then like 1 year, all of a sudden we'll be like, oh, this is our year. We're going to a championship game, and haven't pulled that off in a while either. But even
I mean, I watch a lot of Devils games. The Devils are terrible, and I still sit there and watch them, and I get mad. And they play no defense. Their goaltending is spotty. I went down to a game this year. The ticket was $6.
Oh wow!
$6 ticket. It cost $35 to park my car. The ticket was $6. So my son and I went. It was $12. 2 tickets, $12 total. Jeez. Not $12 a ticket, PJ.
You can't,
12 total for the 2 tickets.
You can't get like a baseball game in Baltimore in the outfield for that price.
No, it was close though. We went last year
on a Wednesday.
Yeah, we went down to Baltimore to take a cruise, and the night before staying in Baltimore, we went to the Orioles game, and it was funny because I don't know, they were playing the Nationals or they're playing the Braves, and the guy the Braves' best pitcher was pitching, and he threw a 9-inning shutout. The game was like an hour and 24 minutes. Like we were in and out of that place.
That's the funny thing going to other baseball stadiums. Living in New York, is you go to a stadium and you're expecting to pay like $60 for a cheap ticket, and you're like, oh, that'd be $25. Like what?
Yeah. I mean, I went to Philly one time,
and you're 6 rows behind third base.
Yeah. I mean, we did it. We went to Washington, went to a Nationals game, got tickets cheap. Right. We went to Pittsburgh. Like we went to a lot of these different stadiums, and it was just, everything is fairly priced. I mean, I went to a Sixer game, and friend of ours, Damon, was actually at the game. So I called him down there, and he goes, so how about this? I call him, and I'm like, hey, I'm down in Philly. He goes, oh, I'm at the Sixer game. And I'm like, all right, I'm coming over. So I drive to the stadium, and I walk up. I go to the ticket window, and I'm like, I need 1 ticket. The guy's like, well, depends on where. Now, I knew they were sitting lower level behind the basket. And the guy's like, well, the tickets start, upper deck is like $8. He's like, but, if you want to sit down low, it's going to cost you like $35. I was like, 35?
Yeah.
I was like, shit, I'm like, I need something in this section right here. The guy's like, oh, it's going to be $35. I was like, yeah, okay. $35. I'm like, if I go to the city, I mean, that ticket.
You go to MSG. You go to.
Yeah, it's Brooklyn. It's going to be crazy. I buy the ticket. I go sit in my seat. I got the seat right next to Damon.
What are the odds?
Right next to him. But like, because I'm like, I'll get a ticket and see if I can find a seat around you. So luckily, like just randomly, I bought the seat. Like that's a 1 in 20,000 chance.
Well, you knew the section.
Think about it.
Well, you knew the section.
I guess it narrows it down a little bit. So
maybe like 1 in 50 or something like that. I don't know how big the section was.
Yeah, like crazy.
Yeah.
The section was pretty big. I'll stick with my 1 in 20,000.
There you go. It does sound a lot better. Put the odds on that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So AFC, who you got
next year?
I want to see the Bills. Honestly, I would like to see the Bills win the AFC. Titans are good too. I forgot about the Titans all of a sudden.
It depends on where some of these quarterbacks land.
That's true too.
So, if it depends on where the quarterbacks land. If I'm looking at it right now, I'm probably looking at. I don't think Cincinnati's going to get there again next year. I think that might be a situation where they might take a step back, and then 2 or 3 years down the road might get there, right? I would like to see Buffalo.
Yeah.
I would like to see Buffalo. If that's a reality, any other AFC team, I mean, the Colts, I don't know if Carson Wentz is going to do it.
I think they're good. I think I've heard yesterday they might be on the move from Carson.
Can Tannehill get you to the Super Bowl in Tennessee?
Tannehill's always solid. And they got Derrick Henry, which is like Derrick Henry's just on another level right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna say.
But Buffalo, I think, is the best overall team in that league right now, in the conference, I should say.
Yeah, I think I would go Buffalo, and then I think it really is gonna depend on where Aaron Rodgers goes. It's gonna depend Aaron Rodgers where he ends up. So I don't even know.
Now,
if he's in Green Bay, I'm going to go with Green Bay. Yeah. If he's in Tampa, I'm going to say Tampa. I'm following Aaron Rodgers for the NFC.
So let's go back to the NFC. I mean, those are great choices. Obviously, I want to see the 49ers in there. I don't know if they have what it takes yet. We'll see what they do in the offseason. But yeah, Green Bay is going to be hard to beat if Aaron Rodgers, or check this out. Because Kyler Murray's not having a good time in Arizona right now. I don't know if you heard that story.
No.
Yeah. Apparently he wiped all his social media about
Arizona. I did see that. I saw that headline, but I didn't read it. But
yeah, apparently they're not. Apparently they're. He's looking for a way out. So.
Why would you not want to play in Arizona?
Who knows? Maybe he just doesn't like the people. I think people were blaming him for the loss in the playoffs. I kind of took it personally. He's like,
well, they were giving you credit for all the wins.
I'll win somehow, yeah. I guess.
And so, like,
listen,
you got to be able to...
he was my fantasy quarterback a couple years ago, 2 years ago. He was great for me. So
all right, so Aaron Rodgers goes to the Cardinals. I'm taking the Cardinals.
Yeah,
that's where Aaron Rodgers ends up.
Aaron
Rodgers
goes to the Cardinals, yeah.
So the Rams are another. The Rams could go back. I mean, I think the Rams would be good. The Rams are good enough that they could actually go back.
Yeah, I don't think they do though. I just don't. Especially if Darnold retires. You
think he'll retire?
He said. I heard something. I don't know if you heard that during the pregame show. I just said if he wins the Super Bowl, he's thinking about hanging him up. Quarterbacks are a year older. OBJ's gonna be not OBJ after this knee injury, possibly.
Yeah, I don't think you have many teams in the NFC where I can say that team's gonna be there, right? I just because the Saints are taking a step back. Sean Payton retired. See, it's amazing, right? Like Sean Payton's like I'm not. Like he saw what life was like without Drew Brees, and I think he was like, "I'm not doing this.
I'm good.
I'm not doing this rebuild. I can't do it. I'm out." Because you have nothing to gain at that point, right? For Sean Payton, what do you have to gain?
Oh God, no. Why? Yeah, get out. So the West is super strong still, right? You got the Niners, Rams, Cardinals. Um, you got the Packers in the and the North, and Tampa Bay in the South. The NFC East is still going to be pretty bad.
I mean, you have the Cowboys, but the Cowboys aren't.
No, they don't
aren't going to the Super Bowl. I mean, you'll hear all about how great they are and
every year. But
and then throughout the year, you hear about how the offense is so great they can win a Super Bowl. Their defense will win a Super Bowl, and then they lose.
And they played you guys in Washington. And who else is in the division? Philly. They're all not playing very good football right now.
I was surprised.
That division's still anybody's. Though. I think anyone can win that division. I don't think Dallas is like that much head and shoulders above everybody else in the NFC East.
Dallas.
I don't think Dallas is that good.
Dallas is all hype. Every year it's all hype. I mean, they're good, but they're not next level good.
No.
I don't know. I can tell you this: I don't think the Super Bowl team in the NFC is coming out of the East.
That's a good bet.
And it's not coming out of the North if Aaron Rodgers isn't there. So that leaves the West and the South.
I like that Aaron Rodgers in Tampa Bay just keeps them in the equation, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Jimmy G might go there too if they can't get Aaron Rodgers. I could see that move. He backed up Brady.
So if Jimmy G goes to Tampa Bay, where does Aaron Rodgers go? Does he go to San Francisco?
No, wouldn't make any sense.
Does he go? Where does he go?
God.
Goes Arizona?
Titans make a trade for him. Arizona, maybe? What is Kyler Murray and Aaron Rodgers swap?
Well, that would be interesting.
Goes to the Giants.
Yeah. The problem with the Giants is I don't want to give up.
No.
I don't want to give up all the assets to get them. I'd rather just stay the course, keep the draft picks you have this year, build up everything around a quarterback, and then if Jones doesn't work out next year, then you go and get your guy. But build up everything around him.
No, Aaron Rodgers is a waste unless you need something to get you over the edge, top. Like
Aaron Rodgers isn't stupid enough to go to New York
within the 2 years. No. I was just joking.
Yeah, he is. It's like Tom. He's in a Tom Brady situation. I'm gonna go where I can win now, and I can do that because I'm Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know. I'm thinking 49ers now. I'm like, you just can't. You can't let the number 1 draft pick that you just drafted just sit another year on the bench. That's what they used to do. It just doesn't seem like they do that anymore.
No, but then when they throw a guy into the fire without many reps or being able to see the speed of the game, and then they kick him to the can 2 years later, and it's like, well,
that'd be.
There's not many Joe Burrows.
How interesting would that be? Aaron Rodgers in San Francisco right now.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Or is that a waste because they run the ball so much?
I'd be back to hating the 49ers again though.
Fair enough.
Even though I think they'd go to the Super Bowl, that
would make you hate them even more.
Because that's
You've
when you
always
start
hated
to get
the 49ers. You've always hated.
Yeah, but they haven't been that relevant. They haven't been like that dynasty
not
again.
Not like they used to.
So it's almost like
you feel bad. You feel bad hating them.
You get haters when you're like really good. Like that's when the haters start coming out, right? When
we had that early 2010s where it was like back in the 90s where they just went to the NFC Championship every year and fell short.
Yeah, you had Vernon Davis and was that the Vernon?
Yep.
Vernon Davis at tight end and.
Still Alex Smith and then Kaepernick and.
Yeah, that was a good NFC Championship game, right? Eli Manning took one of the all-time beatings.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, the Giants beat us.
And still won because one of the big things, and I know I just talked about how calls don't impact the game, but this wasn't that the ref. It was a 15-yard celebration when they had those stupid celebration penalties. I think Vernon Davis or somebody got on the camera well.
Oh yeah,
a 15-yard penalty, and then the Giants ended up getting the ball and scoring points. But it was like those stupid penalties. Like, and I hate those penalties because they have nothing to do
with the actual game,
with the play on the game. It's like unless it's egregious or anything like I'm glad they got rid of that penalty because a lot of those penalties like when they have nothing to do with the game but impact the game.
Yeah,
drives me nuts. The NFL has too many rules. We need to get rid of some rules. We need to
especially those those fun rules, right? Those celebration rules. Let that guy run on the field. Who cares? Doesn't delay the game or anything. It's a Super Bowl. Let him run on the field.
Next thing you know, you got 47 guys.
I don't care. Just as long. Listen, you can have a timer. All right, you can have a timer that says, all right, you get 20 seconds after the touchdown. If you don't get off the field by then, you're flagged. But
you just added a rule. You took a rule away, but then added one.
It's a good compromise, I think, though.
I don't know. I think you just
you get 30. You get 30 seconds. I would love to see the whole team just in the end zone, just like
you just got offsetting penalties. I don't know. I'm all for less rules, right? Give me less rules. I mean, I'm not saying you should be able to like destroy a guy, but you're asking 80-year-old men to kind of like really pick apart too much, right? I feel bad for officials. Like I understand we get on them a lot, but sometimes, I mean, I really feel bad. Like
it's a lot harder than people give it credit for.
And I think they get more right than people realize.
Yeah, most of the plays.
I think some of like a lot of the plays are like, oh wow, he actually was right when you slow it down and look at it. But I think you're asking these guys to do way too much, and you're asking them to like interpret things, and they have to watch way too much.
Make it simpler.
You just make the game simpler. But as guys getting bigger and faster, and
well, as an athletic trainer, I'm all for making the game safer, and I think the NFL has to like toe this fine line about still making it an exciting, hard-hitting, action-packed game, and also not like having a bunch of people who can't remember their name.
Yeah, like the doorbell rings, they pick up the phone. Like you don't want people for that to happen.
Like when you're on in their careers. even that hit on Cooper Kupp last night, when he went down, that actually got a little bit of chatter on Twitter. I don't know if you know who Chris Nowinski is. He's a former professional wrestler, went to Harvard, but he's big on concussions. He actually left professional wrestling because of concussions, and done a lot of studying about him and his talks, and he tweeted last night. He was like, everyone's going to remember him for that touchdown catch, but he shouldn't have been in the game.
Yeah.
Which, I can't vouch for that. I wasn't on the sidelines. I don't know how he reacted. There's been times where I've seen, athletes look like, oh my God, that's definitely going to be that head injury, and they're fine.
Yeah.
And then you see the other things where it doesn't look bad at all, and they have a head injury. It's very hard to predict those kind of things without being there and like doing the evaluation and stuff like that. But one of the criteria, because they have spotters obviously in the NFL, right?
And they buzz down.
And they tell them, you got to check that person out. Something looked wrong. And one of the criteria is like after a blow to the head or hitting your head on the ground, slow to get up is kind of should put you in the protocol at least to get evaluated.
Yeah.
And to do a proper evaluation, it's going to take at least like 10 minutes or so. But I I also get the part about being an athlete, and it's the Super Bowl, and like
you want to go back in, right?
You're going to want to play, which is why you also have to have somebody there to advocate for the athlete's well-being.
Like in Any Given Sunday, right? Any Given Sunday, the movie with Al Pacino, and they're like, hey, just juice me up, doc. Like, get me back in the game. Get me back in the game.
Especially Super Bowl, like I said, like that's how you knew OBJ's knee was done, because if he would have been able to like do anything on that thing, he would have been out there.
He would have been back in the game. He wouldn't have been in a hoodie. He would have been standing.
Like look at Terrell Owens, who everyone called him a prima donna and whatnot. Dude breaks his ankle. And he's like, I'm playing football.
Well, yeah, he shouldn't. There was stories that he shouldn't even have played in that game.
No,
but it was
like
played
in that game. He had a chance to do serious injury to his ankle. Yeah. But he also too he was at a point in his career where it was like, this is it, or no, this is my all or nothing, right?
Yeah.
So if I lose the ability to walk, this is what I've worked my ass off for 30 years.
This is probably my only shot.
Some guys never get there. It's got to be crazy to be in that mindset, right? Like there's the old story, was it Ronnie Lott or one of the 49ers defensive backs who cut their finger off because they broke it in the game before?
Lott. Yeah, it was Ronnie Lott,
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Because
you're like,
because what people don't understand.
Like I've worked like 12 hours a day since I was a teenager, if not younger. To get to this.
And it's a type A personality where like people don't understand like the drive and the work ethic and the sacrifice and the pain and everything it took to get to that level, right? Like you're not talking about, somebody who goes to work at a job and, does what they do, and they might be pretty good at it or whatever, but are they have they worked? Have they put in the effort, the sacrifice, the pain, and the risk?
Will they die? Will they die? Will they die for that? Will they die for that?
Yeah. Yeah, like have you put in the effort and the pain to get to the less than top 1% of your field? Right? Like that's what those guys like, they work hard to get to that level. Right? So it's like, yeah, they put their whole lives on the line, right? They could have been doing other things with it.
Without question.
They could have been doing other things. They could have been hanging out, going out to dinner like everybody else, right? Doing those things. I mean, like, just look at Kobe Bryant. I was watching a thing about him today where Phil Jackson was like, Kobe, you gotta, like, if you want to be a leader of these guys, you at least have to like hang out with them, like go out with them every once in a while. Because Kobe was like, he was at the gym and he was working out and then he was studying film in a hotel room. Like it was almost like it was just everything was about just doing it. And then Kobe would tell the story of, hey, knocking on their hotel doors going, hey, you guys want me to go out with you? I'll go out with you. We'll go out. We'll have fun. We'll have some drinks. He's like, but if I go out with you, you got to come with me 5 a.m. tomorrow. Like we're going to get up. We're going to go to the gym. And he's like, he'd be banging on dudes' doors. And they're like, oh my God, what do you want? He's like, look, I went out with you. Like, you're coming with me. And there's stories of him going out. And then like guys would come back and go get breakfast. Like Dwayne Wade told the story, I think, on the Olympic team. And Kobe came back and he was just iced up and he was sweating. He had ice on his knees and he came back from a workout. Like he went out and then went and worked out before they were going to work out. Like that's just another level.
And that's for the Olympic. That's an Olympic time. that's not even.
If you're gonna win, like you're gonna go in and win, like so, like to that kind of like just sacrifice is something that obviously 99.9% of people can't understand. Why you cut your own finger off to stay in the game?
to play a football game, right? In the long run,
you're gonna do what you have to do.
Because if they win the game, you still get the prize.
Yeah. You
still get the bonus.
You've made this your life. You have committed. But you've committed to something that like you're gonna. That's it. And that level of commitment is people. I don't think people like people can't grasp that.
No, I mean it's really just a hard thing to think about. But that's whether good or bad. Like that's the other thing too. Like how healthy is this kind of relationship we have?
Like sometimes it's not good. Right? Like
with athletics, but
sometimes it's to the detriment, right? Yeah. Sometimes it's to your detriment. You might get so obsessed with something, or you know what I mean. Like
you cut your finger off.
Might not be good. Yeah, it might not be. You cut your finger off or bite somebody's ear off in the ring.
To be fair, that seems like a bite somebody's. You had to save face.
Yeah, he's getting beat.
Nick, it's great talking to you.
Yeah, good absolutely.
Time. Tell people where they can see your podcast.
Oh yeah, so the New York Nick. So on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, it's the NYNICK. So the New York Nick. We do a podcast. We did one last week. It's up on Facebook. For some reason it didn't live stream on YouTube, so we got to figure that out. But figure out that kink. But yeah.
Go check them out. Go follow the socials and check out the podcast. I like listening to you guys and chiming in on the chat.
Yeah, we get off on different tangents, right? Like we'll talk about sports.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what we did too. We talked about the Super Bowl.
We'll talk about something. Like, we'll get a little political, and then we'll go this way. And
somehow talked about you getting cursed at by coaches.
Oh yeah, probably won't be the last time.
Awesome.
No,
good talk though. It's getting late. I won't keep you up anymore. But maybe we'll do this some other time.
Absolutely.
I'll hit you up. You too.
All right, man.
See you.